All right, how's it going, everyone? This is Chris Jaxon here. It's been a little while. I feel like I say that every time because it always has been. But basically what I wanted to do today is just talk about my stereo rig that I've been using for the last, I guess, year or so. So a while ago, I made a video on my ampless board, which basically means I have this guy, the Walrus ACS1, which is a modeling amp and cab sim, which allowed me to not need to use a amp when touring, and that's why I got it. I was going on a tour with my friend Cozy Boy, and it was a very low budget tour. We were roughing it, and there was not going to be room or a budget for an amp. So I got this. I'm a Walrus artist, and so I was happy to try it out, and it's been great so far, and it's still on my board. So then something happened, I guess the end of last year, where I was doing a show with this other artist, a friend of mine, Lola Collette. She wanted me to kind of have the role of a very atmospheric, spacey kind of guitarist. I just felt compelled to try to make that happen as effectively as possible. And in my opinion, the best way to get more spacey is to have a stereo rig. That's what I'm doing now. That's what I've been doing. And I just kind of want to talk about how I'm doing that. And I'm still ampless, so that's been actually really convenient. First off, when I first built this board, I only had one gain stage and I had no modulation. I had a reverb, but it was a mono reverb. It was the Earthquaker Afterneath, which as far as mono reverbs go, still my favorite. But now I feel like I have a pretty fully functioning board even at this size. Let's just kind of go through it. First off, I'm playing a Mario Martin Telemaster. I think I'm just going to stay on the bridge pickup the whole time. It's a Jalen the Beast, which is essentially like a Van Halen style pickup, overwound PAF. And then coming out of the board, stereo into my Focusrite Claret, and then straight into Logic, no added plugins or anything on that. First thing I'm going into is the Low Sounds Blow. That's low, L-O-E, blow pedal. And it's basically just a miniature version of a Color Sound one knob fuzz. And I like it a lot. It's got a small footprint. Now that I have a mini volume pedal on here, I can sneak it above there, and it's the first thing I go into because, you know, general rule of thumb, first thing you want to go into is your fuzz. It depends on the fuzz, but if you can, why not? Here's my clean tone first. And here is the fuzz. That is just a great little fuzz. I like that it only has one knob. I don't like kind of in a live setting having to troubleshoot, you know, balancing the gain and the volume and stuff. It's just got a master volume sort of thing, which does affect the tone quite a bit. Here, I'll put it like at 9 o'clock. And then here's it at around 3 o'clock. So obviously it gets louder, but it also, I think, gets a little brighter. I kind of switch around where it is, but typically I have it at noon. Aisha Lowe is a kind of small builder in California, and I've gotten to kind of know her over social media. She's great. All of her stuff is great. I've got another pedal by her on my bass board that I'll do a review of pretty soon. She makes a really good super fuzz that I might want to get down the line. But yeah, it's really good. Oh, and it cleans up pretty well when you roll the volume back on your guitar. It doesn't clean up all the way, but it gives it this nice kind of thin sort of lo-fi thing when you roll back your volume knob, and I think that's pretty cool. I use that for the intro of a song, and I'll get into that later. So then I have my volume pedal. It's just the Dunlop Volume X Mini. Nothing to say about it. It works great. It also doubles as an expression pedal if you want to do that, and it's very small. So that's really all there is to that. I also have my tuner, which I guess is actually before that. My tuner, it's a Polytune 3 Mini. I use the buffer on it. Really no complaints. Again, it's small, works perfectly fine. Then I have my compressor. Now, before I was using a Demeter optocompulator, which is great. It's really good. It could be a little too like squishy on guitar. I like it a bit better on bass. But this is the Maxon CP9 Pro Plus, which is basically using the same circuitry as a DBX compressor, and I love this thing a lot. I think it's really versatile. You can really squash the tone. You can have it really open, and I use it for guitar and bass. Here is my sound without it, which I never do. I always have it on, but here it is. And then here's it on. So yeah, it just tightens things up. I try to have my compressors set in a way where I can just leave it on all the time and it doesn't mess up my tone too much. I like them to be fairly transparent. So that's how it's set now. Then we've got this guy, the Fuzzrocious Lil Fella. This was on my board in its last incarnation. I've tried out a lot of other drives since my first video on this board, and I think it's just having the mentality of like, oh, if you don't have it, that means it's better than what you have now. That kind of just always wanting the next cool toy. But honestly, it's really hard to beat this for versatility. If you only have room for one overdrive distortion kind of thing, this is excellent. It's really versatile. It's got a huge tonal range. It's really clear if you want it to be. It has a gate switch, so if you want to get like really heavy and cut noise, it's great for that. It's got a ton of headroom. I power this thing at 15 volts. You can go up to 18. It doesn't really matter. It's gonna have so much headroom anyway. So here is what that sounds like. I think I said this in the last video I did, but yeah, that's everything I want in a distortion. And hey, maybe something will come along that kicks it off my board, but I have yet to meet that pedal. So that's fantastic. Now you might notice there's been some modulation going on this whole time, and that is this guy. This is the Yamaha CH100 stereo chorus. I always leave it on because it really widens my signal a lot. And a lot of people don't use chorus in stereo because the spread can get kind of messy. This one is notably very good with spread. It's probably got the widest spread of a chorus I've ever heard. It's really fantastic. Now that I've mentioned that that's been on, I will do this guy again with the chorus off, and then I'll do it with the chorus on. Here is it, chorus off. And then here's it with the chorus on. Yeah, it's just it makes it sound so much bigger. It also does make my signal a little louder, which I don't really mind at all. It doesn't like clip or anything. But yeah, I found this chorus because I was doing kind of a rookie thing, and I was just looking up what choruses shoegaze bands used, and Slowdive apparently, at least at a point, used this chorus. So I was like, oh, I'll check it out. And yeah, it's fantastic. Again, I leave it on the whole time because I don't think it like makes my signal too watery or anything, and it just makes it so much wider and bigger. Why change that, right? So that's that guy. Cool. And then we're going to go into this. This is the Walrus ACS1, which, as I mentioned at the beginning, is a amp and cab simulator. It's got Fender sounds, Vox sounds, Marshall sounds. I now use, I think in the last video I used Fender Vox left and right, and now I do Fender, and it's just identical on both sides. By having it stereo, it just makes my sound a lot bigger, thanks to the chorus, thanks to the reverb that's after it. It also has a built-in boost, which is great for soloing. You can control the headroom of that separately, so that's awesome. You can also have 3 different banks. So this is my EQ settings and gain settings for this guitar, and then when I use my Telecaster, I have another bank that's the same amps and same cabs, but with different EQ and gain settings. I have really no complaints about it whatsoever. It sounds like a great amp to me, or a great pair of amps to me. And then I have my reverb pedal. This is a New Neighbor Immerse. It's a stereo reverb, and I typically have it set to the echo setting, which has reverb and then also an echo, so it's kind of acting like my reverb and a delay pedal in one, which is great for my limited space that I have here. So here is what that sounds like. And yeah, it's just a really nice, versatile reverb, pretty inoffensive. And again, I leave that on all the time. I like to have pedals that I can leave on the whole time because I don't like switching sounds a million times during a set. I like having just a clean sound and then a distorted sound and then a fuzz sound. I would like to be able to leave my chorus and my compressor and my reverb on that entire time. So that's kind of why I pick these guys, because I can be really transparent sonically with all of them. And then the last thing on my board is the Walrus Canvas. So this is the stereo version, and it's just a DI box. Before I was using a DI box that my dad had built, which is awesome. It's got Jensen transformers, but it's pretty big and it's also mono. This is a smaller footprint, it's stereo, it works really well with my ACS1, and what I like about it a lot is it has a pad, which is not anything crazy, but as I've played a lot, you never really know the amount of signal that the sound guy is going to want from you. Sometimes they're like, oh hey, you're coming in really hot, can you do something about that? And then put the pad on. And then if another sound guy's like, oh hey, I'm not really getting a big signal from you, just take the pad off. And it just gives me a much wider range of versatility for them to work with. I've also used this board just plugging in one XLR, and it's sounded totally fine. Switching to mono, I've never felt like I'm losing all my tone or anything by doing that. Super versatile, and it's just the final recipe of making this a really big sounding and efficient board. So I'm just gonna kind of mess around now. I think I'm going to start by playing a Lola Collette guitar part on clean, and then I'll play a Cozy Boy part on distortion, and then I'll play a Tommy Ora part, which is another artist I play for, with the fuzz. So just to give you a final summary of everything I've got going on. So yeah, that's my board. I'm very happy with it. I power all of it, I should mention, with a Strymon Zuma power supply. Very low profile, no issues with it whatsoever. I'm using a Pedal Train Nano Plus to fit all this. And then, last thing I didn't mention, I have a little pick tray here that comes with whatever Walrus pedal you might buy in the future. It'll come with that, and it's really small, and I'm super glad that it fits on my board because I drop picks all the time. That's really it. So I guess, hey, let me know, have you ever tried using like an ampless thing with your pedal board that isn't straight up a fractal or a helix? Because that's something I've always thought about, but I don't know, I just don't like feeling like I'm on a computer when I'm tone searching. I would much rather have the pedals in front of me and then just make my amp the model. But I totally understand the convenience of having a helix or a fractal or a Kemper. But yeah, let me know if you do anything similar to my setup here. I would love to see how you're doing that, how you like it. And I think I will leave it at that. It is very hot in this room because it's July in Los Angeles. So before I melt away, I'm going to say thank you. Hope you liked the video, and I will see you next time.